Hi, guys. We are live at Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much. I need to turn my headphones up because I can barely hear myself think. That's a problem.
Wait, you think?
I do think.
Oh, wow.
Was that a dad joke?
I don't know.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. Gosh, I am actually really excited about this because it's been way long of a time since you and I sat down and recorded, just you and I.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it has been.
I'm excited about that, and I hope you guys have enjoyed our interviews that we've been doing. It's been fun to interview Mike Camp, Erica Hamill. I'm drawing a blank. There's another one in there somewhere.
Sam.
No, Zane. But I mean, yeah. Has it been that? Like, has it been since Sam, since you and I? That's crazy. So we worked really hard on getting everything working. That's why we're a little late tonight. So,
don't you remember your wife's advice?
What's that?
Don't talk about the tech stuff.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Score one.
Okay. That was be my only tech talk. Tech talk. All right, Ben.
Is that like a TED Talk?
Yeah, but I'm not a professional in it. There was some, before you introduce what Threads concept, I was listening to, I think it was Eric Zane talk about, he was interviewing Brian Kelly, who's got a podcast. He's a famous photographer in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
He does a lot of the drag shows and stuff like that.
Interesting.
So he was saying that...
Like drag shows as in drag racing or like the drag queens?
Drag queens.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was saying that Grand Rapids, there was a company that it's called the Failure Lab.
Yeah. I've heard of this.
Okay, so you just, for 8 to 10 minutes, you get up and talk about your biggest failure, and I guess you're supposed to leave everyone on the edge of their seat. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to let them know, like, the result, like,
nope,
what
no
you...
resolution.
No
just
resolution.
The failure.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
I like the thought of discussing your failures, but I'm not sure I want to do that. That seems scary.
Yeah.
I'm super scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on that note...
That was flat.
Nah, not really. Do I sound okay in your headphones?
Yeah. Are you talking about tech stuff? Because you just violated. Megan's going to kick your ass. What are you having trouble with?
I just sound like I'm not loud, but that's probably because of the headphones.
It could be. I mean, I will check.
I mean, I hate to interrupt.
Yeah,
I'm plenty loud. Okay.
Well, just turn it up a little bit. See?
Oh, look at that.
Welcome
to the G.
Oh,
to the Threads. You know.
Just introduce what Threads is about, you son of a gun.
Well, Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered, tonight is all about spelling regular wrong. I had to get that in there.
I know. I appreciate you saying that, Life Unfiltered. Ben's like, you spelled regular wrong in our intro, and I was like, you know what? I don't care.
It's unfiltered.
It's unfiltered. I'm rolling with it. I don't have a spell check in the program I made that in.
And in all fairness, that doodle thing is pretty awesome.
I know. I love it so much.
And I'm glad that you do it and I don't have to worry about it. So.
Right. Exactly.
So no, Threads is all about life unfiltered. We strive to have conversations between the two of us or with guests. And the whole point is to just chat openly, honestly, and without any Snapchat or Instagram filters that make everything look better than it actually is. We just want to be real with each other, real about life, and process the goings-ons, whatever it is. And practice our grammar and spelling while we're at it, apparently. So, Threads is like the opposite of what you would find on your standard scrolling through Facebook, the highlight reel. This isn't a highlight reel. This is more the nitty-gritty.
I feel like Facebook, though, nice lip smack there, Jason. I feel like Facebook, though, is less fake than Snapchat and Instagram true. With all the filters. I know Facebook does have filters, but I don't see, and maybe I'm not friends with those people that do that stuff, but I feel like Facebook is somewhat real.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Anyway, so that's what Threads is all about. Every episode that we get together, that's the direction our conversations always take. And we've also introduced a new concept. We used to record every other week, and then we started seeing tremendous growth in our audience in numbers. So we decided every other week just isn't going to cut it. So let's start doing in between episodes. So after this episode gets published and released to the wild, my wife and I will be sitting down to record and kind of debrief everything that took place on this.
Yeah, I'd love to get some feedback, not from Larry, about how our super fan how people like that. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? I don't know. I enjoy it.
I do too.
I really do.
And my wife liked it too, which I was really relieved to hear.
Well, and that's going to be important, because if you're forcing them, not forcing them, but like if you're like begging them, it's just going to come off.
Yeah.
If it's not going to work, maybe you can just have a sub-in wife if Andy doesn't want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean,
a sub-in wife.
Just for the podcast, of course.
Podcast wife.
Yeah, your podcast wife.
Got it.
So
wow.
So why don't you start off with a personal update? Those that have joined us kind of after Eric Zane, we really haven't had this kind of format. And this is kind of how we started our bread and butter, just kind of breaking down each other's lives and talking about articles that are inspiring or heartbreaking to us. So I know your week, but why don't you tell the fans what your week has been like?
Well, this week was a bit of a doozy.
It's not what I thought you were going to say.
Really?
I thought you were going to say it's been a bitch.
I mean, we could go that route too, because that would not be incorrect.
Correct.
My week was challenging with our daughter Miracle, who joined our family. If you haven't listened to any previous episodes where we talk about this, but we adopted Miracle 2 years ago, right around this time. And she was 8 at that point, and we knew we were getting ourselves into, a hot mess. Like taking in a kid that old with a lot of baggage, with a lot of expectations that hadn't been met. But beyond that, we chose to see and invest in the future that we saw in her, and it was bright, and it still is. But she has, she's challenging, and now she's getting physically larger. Like that happens as kids grow up. It's getting to the point where she's tall and muscular, and she can pack a punch. We had an instance where she needed to be restrained because of her behavior and her threatening of running away. So I had to get her into my car. I was successful in getting her in my car, but as soon as I put her in, man, the kicks just came flying, and they hurt.
That's amazing, because, she is strong, but, you're a bear.
I'm a bear. I'm a big guy, no doubt about it. But when my head is exposed and I can't hardly do anything, it was an awkward position to be in.
Yeah.
She's just kicking away at my head, and I'm seeing stars, and I'm just like out of it for a second. And then all of a sudden I hear my wife saying, "Babe, pull it together. Pull it together. You gotta pull it together. You can't fall apart." And I'm like, I'm not falling apart. But apparently I had let out a little bit of a shriek because I was in pain, and I was just kind of feeling out of it. And so yeah, that happened. And Miracle also kind of came at Andy, gave her a nice little bopper on the face. So we found ourselves in a spot where we needed help, and we needed it like now. So there are, we talked about it on a previous episode, I think, or maybe I think you put a link to it, the mental health crisis center that Pine Rest opened.
Is that the one you went to?
We were on the way there, but then I called on the way just to make sure that they saw kids. They don't.
Oh.
So like, well, shit.
Yeah.
So from there, we went the opposite direction up to Network 180, and they actually did a really good job of calming her down, identifying what the pressing issues were, coming up with a plan. How are we going to get through this? And then they also referred us to some additional services because obviously her, once a week counseling sessions just aren't cutting it. She needs more intensive help.
Yeah.
Is really what it boils down to.
Has she been in once a week since you guys, she came into your life?
No, it's been as much as every week, as little as once a month.
How does the adoption agency, when you adopt somebody, is there any stipulation of you should go to this, or do they just like, here you go, here's the key?
It's really, here's the key. I mean,
Wow.
they encourage you to seek out the services that you need, but there's no follow-up after the fact.
That's crazy.
I know.
I think I wish there would be at least a little bit.
Yeah. Oregon had they have a whole office dedicated to post-adoption resources.
Wait. You adopted her in Oregon?
No. We adopted her
Sorry.
here.
I was like, wait, this is breaking news.
No.
You've been here for longer than 2 years.
No, we
Sorry.
adopted our son in Oregon.
Yeah, I knew that.
They have a whole office called the Post-Adoption Resource
Oh, like their whole job is to follow up on adoptions.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Michigan, for whatever reason, maybe it's the agency we worked with, I'm not really sure. Things are very different here. You adopt through private organizations in Michigan. You don't adopt through like the state.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't mean to go on a tangent, but there's so many kids in foster care through the state.
There are. But
So then you have to. So an outside private organization comes in to the state and says this person wants.
It's really interesting. So when a kid comes into care, there's a call that goes out to agencies in the area, and they determine on that call who's going to be responsible for placement of that child. In the state of Oregon, it's not privatized. So if a child comes into care, it's not like this big question of, oh, what organization's going to get this one? It's just a lot more straightforward and direct.
Yeah, Andy said that Michigan has post-adoption resources too, but they're not mandated.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife is watching. Hi.
Yeah, she's commenting like crazy because we're talking. She says they have it. Oregon doesn't follow up. There's just resources when you need it. Well, she told us.
Right.
Jeez, good luck. Good luck breaking this episode down.
Seriously. She's going to be all over this first segment.
That's
so
funny.
that was our week. It was interesting for sure.
Yeah, I know. Ben reached out to me a couple of times, and I was just like, "Oh man, it's so tough because there's really nothing I can do, other than just be like, man. I mean, I can say, and I would if you called me, I'd be like, what do you need? I will pick up your other kid, Stefan, other kid, jeez, or whatever. You need some food, or So I'm sorry you had to go through that, but it sounds like we talked before that it's kind of settled down a little bit.
Yeah, we've been very picky and choosy with the activities we do as a family.
Right. The safe ones.
So
let's talk about real quick before we move on to me why she's well, I mean, we know why she has the trauma brain, but what's going on now that's making her upset?
Anytime that there is change on the horizon, it's very difficult for her to handle and process because in her trauma impacted brain, change means like big change, like life altering, being in a different home change. And so every time that change enters the equation, she just cannot handle it.
Yeah.
It causes her to go to very dark places mentally, and it causes her to be very obstinate and not responding to instructions. It just, it's really hard for her. And the change that's coming up is she's moving out of her elementary school, and then she's going to be moving into a middle school building next year. So as this school year wraps up, she's just really feeling it. She loves her current school, and the teachers have been phenomenal with her. Like, it has been like a match made in heaven, and that's coming to an end.
Yeah, that's tough.
So now, when she thinks of change, she doesn't necessarily see it as a good thing. Like, change has always brought about pain for her. So in her mind, she's expecting a very painful experience by changing schools, even though, given what we know about the district and the teachers she'll have next year, it's going to be a good change.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, logically, as adults, you can think it's going to be fine, but as what is she, 10?
She's 10?
Yeah. And dealing with getting disappointed and hurt for years and years and years, it's hard. You can't. There's no logic there.
Yeah, it's very difficult for her to be optimistic about anything.
So, my week. I can honestly say it's not even just week. It's been okay. It's been good. Ben puts these little words to kind of pick your brain. So challenged, moved. One thing, we had Avery's dance recital, and we've had them for, I don't know, it's probably year 7. I mean, there's a lot of them, and she did phenomenal, and she did 2 numbers. She did a tap number and a ballet, so that was
fun.
a challenge, and the tap one was good. And then the ballet one was interesting. I actually started tearing up. It was just so...
I know why you started tearing up.
Because my last name.
Because you're a teary.
You ruined my moment. You
Really
did that.
sorry.
You did that in the last podcast too.
I know.
No, I actually I don't tear up or cry often, and it was so beautiful. She's becoming like a young woman, and it was great. It was cool, and so I didn't say anything to her about that. And then yesterday, I'm just kind of, because I'm a lawn nerd and I love my flowers, I stand in my big bay window and just admire all the green and growth and in life. And she comes up behind me and just gives me this big old bear hug.
Aww,
and I told her that, and that I did tear up, and I not to make her feel bad. I'm sure she was like, "Oh, my dad," but it was good. And Sully, this was his first recital where he didn't have a device.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we didn't even bring one, so he did well. He was entertained. Kathy's does a great job. So, and the one thing I was challenged with this week, I had a therapy appointment without Megan. I've been going with Megan for a while, off and on, but recently consistently, and it was just tough. The news I got, just my analytical brain. When I'm trying to solve problems, I'm always like, I need to win. I'm always up here and Megan's down here. And I know it sounds terrible for me saying that, but there's a long history of issues with women in my life.
Sure.
And so...
Oh, yeah. Starting with your mother.
Yeah. And my ex-wife. And so I've kind of been wired that way, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And the one thing that she said, I was like, well, is there like a plan or a checklist that I can do this to like level this out? And she just looks at me and says, no, it's just emotions. You have to, you're technical, she's emotional. You're just going to have to bring it down to her level, and so that you guys can connect more. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, it was good to hear, but I'm like, give me the tool, give me the checklist that I need to do to figure it out. And she's like, there isn't one.
Which is like the worst news a dude can hear.
Right. I feel like there is, but I think she may be challenging me on what to do. I don't know. So we'll see.
There is a checklist. You get to write it. Right.
Yeah. So it's a long story with that. But other than that, it's been good. I've missed sitting down with you, Ben. I've missed just having these one-on-one. I mean, we talk all the time, but it's typically Telegram. It's not like face-to-face. So I'm excited to go through this episode.
Absolutely. One of the other questions that we ask during our personal update segment is, what is something that you are proud of or not proud of over the last 2 weeks? I'll go first.
Okay.
Again, it's with my daughter. It's just been that kind of a
I mean,
period.
well, you've had some things with Stefan too, but that's like already on the back burner, right? That's
yeah.
You're like, I'm moving on to the next kid.
Seriously. It's like they can't both be doing really good all at the same time. Like they always have to take turns in who's being awful.
Right. I mean,
so Stefan's just killing it. Like he used to be so addicted to screens, and we ended up forcefully selling his Xbox, and then he had to start finding other things to do. He started mowing lawns to make money. He's volunteering at the library this summer. He's excited about his fall job of reffing soccer. And then this weekend he was he had a buddy over after going to the gymnastics open gym. They came over and spent the night. and they were recording rap songs.
I love it. I love it. On the equipment?
No, just on their phones.
Oh, on their phones.
I was like, I've got a soundboard.
Like,
here.
I can make it sound real nice.
Yeah. But no, so his buddy was the producer, and he was the rap dropper. I don't know.
There's a hype man.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them was a hype man. We are so white.
So that's what they did. So, yes, my son, Stefan, is doing really well again. And Miracle's on the struggle bus. It'd be nice if both of them were doing well at the same time. We'll get there. But back to the question, something that I am really proud of. For a while, I had a really difficult time with Miracle. I would say the majority of the last 2 years since we adopted her, I've struggled with how to parent her, how to help her, how to calm her down when she's having her freak out moments. It's usually Andy who ends up being the nurturing one, and I am just completely fed up. And I escape to the backyard and go sit in the hammock and cool off while Andy's inside, trying to calm Miracle down. So many times I've just thrown my hands up in frustration and just been like, I can't do it. Can't do it. And I'd have to walk away. But lately, I've been connecting with her on a really neat level. She is responding very well to me and to my parenting of her. Andy took her to Great America for a school trip, and it was a little bit of a disaster because it started to rain. So rain in a theme park and hungry kids.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Totally. And apparently Miracle doesn't like roller coasters. She learned that the hard way.
Did she freak out or throw up?
She freaked out.
Okay.
And then one of her friends threw up, I think.
Oh, fun.
So she gets off the ride. She is just so discombobulated. She just looks at Andy and says, Mom, I wish Dad was here. He just makes everything better.
Wow.
And so Andy texted that to me, and I definitely did tear up. That's a big sign of victory in our family.
That's huge when you're working towards connecting with whether it's Miracle or Stefan, and you hear that feedback. Yeah.
And then a couple nights ago, Miracle was about on the verge of another fit tantrum.
Yeah.
She is totally a fight or flight kid. It's either one of them. Obviously, the night that we went to Network 180, it was a fight night.
Right.
And then the next night, it was flight. She just started to take off down the road. That was the second time that week that she tried that. Thankfully, she decided on her own to come back to the house without too much trouble. I mean, I followed her in my car the whole way. She just went up and down the road. It wasn't that bad. She goes inside and kind of just sits herself down, and I can tell she doesn't want to be mouthy. She doesn't want to be disrespectful, but she's really struggling. And one of the things that we talked about during the consultation was putting together a calm down box. When she checked off things on this list that she felt would help her calm down. Well, the things that she wanted to do that night, we gave her the list and she looked at it and picked a couple. One of them was pound modeling clay. It's like, great. We don't have any modeling clay.
To the store.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So I was like, that's a great idea. How about this? Make me a deal. You stay right there on the love seat. Don't move. Don't talk. Just sit. And when I get back, I'll bring modeling clay. But you have to just stay where you are. Don't talk to anybody. Don't fight. Just sit still. She said, okay. So she did. And I checked the camera a couple times as I was at the store. Sure enough, she's just sitting there peacefully. Get back with modeling clay and a bag of lavender, of all things. And totally helped her calm right back down and level out. And that was Friday night. So she's doing pretty well overall.
Good. So what's the follow-up as far as counseling for the next couple of weeks? Just a couple more times during the week, or?
We actually have in-home services that are going to be starting.
Good.
So instead of her going somewhere, somebody's going to come to us and work within our family structure and routine and how we do things.
That should be nice.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that it will be.
Yeah.
So
is that insurance covers all that?
Yes.
Yes, he says.
Well, it's a complicated answer.
It's a complicated answer. You don't have to answer it. I just always curious. So
yeah. The frustrating part of it, though, was we were given this number by the people at Network 180, and they said, if you ever find yourself in a spot where she's pulling this stuff again, call this number. There's a crisis team ready to help.
Yeah.
We're like, awesome. So good to have that resource. So we call on a Friday night after 7 p.m. It goes straight to voicemail. They don't monitor that line after 7 p.m.
Well, do they have somebody that you can call?
No.
Like they don't.
The only option is to go back to Network 180 and have her re-seen and rechecked in and go through the entire process all over again.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing that our state is lacking, and that's just help for adoptive parents who are at their wits' end with their kids. And not even just adopted. I mean, parents in general. Like if your kid's in crisis and tearing your house apart, there's nobody you can really call that's going to help. Yeah,
it's kind of frustrating because you're like, okay, I'll call the cops. Well, that's not going to end well.
I've done that.
Not that it's not going to end well, but it's like, I feel like there needs to be a middle between.
There does,
you know, and ends at 7 o'clock. I mean, I feel like most of the crises are going to happen after 7 because kids are tired. You know, they're finally at their wits' end, and then it's going to happen. But it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like parenting is such an unregulated thing.
I know. You can just knock some girl up like I did.
Yeah.
And you're just a parent. Yep. No one, I mean,
there's no license or preparation. There's no follow-up. But yet the government, state level, whatever, can step in and say, you're not doing a good job. We're going to take your kids away. But what did you do to offer help to help it from getting to that point?
Feel like there's help there, but there's no mandatory. And then it's always like, well, I don't want big government involved in that either. But in the same token, when I was 19, I could have used a little help. I could have used a little intervention, you know, and it wasn't there and wasn't mandated. It was there. But so I don't know. That's like a
what?
What's an idea where you think about it and just kind of ponder it?
Philosophical?
Thank you. I was on the struggle bus with that. That's kind of one of those things where...
Fiscal?
No. Where you just kind of can talk about it. There's, you know, I could go either way. I don't want big government in there, but I also think that, you know, there should be some sort of mandated classes or something.
Yeah.
So... where are we at? Oh, proud, not proud. So it's funny. My proud is working on money as a team, being accountable. My not proud of needing to work on money as a team and being accountable.
That's deep.
I know. Megan and I have. So we work hard and we live comfortably. I mean, we're not. You know, we're not rich or anything, but I mean, we live comfortably, and we would just be like, whatever. We'll just live paycheck to paycheck. Not that. You know, we would just spend it, basically, and just not have a purpose.
Totally right there with you.
And I've always, quote unquote, done the money, done a great job, not
spending the money.
Yeah, spending the money. So finally, we're just like, you know what? We don't have anything. We don't, I mean, we do. But I mean, like, what are we doing here? We're just spinning our wheels.
Yeah. Paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Like, we're going out to eat. I mean, we were spending way too much money on the weekends eating out and everything. So we just kind of been like, I was like, Megan, I need your help, you know, and she struggles with that because she, you know, that's kind of what we've worked on in our marriage. Like, you know, I kind of do my thing and she's just making sure everyone's okay. And now she's like, hey, this is not right. And so then now I'm like, oh, this sucks. And so that's the therapy sessions we've been in, is the money conversation. Yeah. So I will report it is going well. It's been nice. I've calmed down a little bit about it. I basically like, I want to buy this, and I go and I look online, but then it just fades away. And then I never even bring it to her, or obviously I don't spend it, because now we're working as a team. We're using a software program every couple of days. We sit down and look at it. So
what are you using now? Still YNAB?
Yeah. Yeah. We once we were both in it, like That's why Megan never wanted to be in the money, and then I'm trying to explain YNAB to her, and she's like,
"Huh?"
Yeah. And even I had some troubles with it, but we got it now, and I like it. But it's just good to kind of be on the same page, and not that it's not easy though. Our budget meetings aren't the best.
How often do you meet about the budget?
Well, we kind of talk every time we get a paycheck.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and we sit down, and so YNAB is kind of this weird thing. It also, they'll have like, let's say 10 transactions that we have to approve or assign. We'll do that real quick. Be like, okay, this is this. Okay, cool. But then when the checks come in, then that's when we're divvying out the money. And so that's when it happens. But it's been going good, but it's still hard for both of us to come to the table and me to say, here you go. You may do, I want you to be involved. And it's like me chopping my own, off.
It's not easy for you to ask for help though, is it?
I mean, it is. It's not, it is easy for me to ask for help when I feel like I need it. Okay. But if I don't need it, which I do need it in this situation, it's tough.
So maybe it's not necessarily the act of asking for help. It's the act of realizing you need help.
Yeah. Like I want her to be my accountability partner, but she doesn't want to do that because then she knows it's going to rock the boat and then we're going to be fighting. So it's this battle from her coming in on her angle and me. Like, I'm like, help me. And she's like, I don't want to because we're going to fight. You know what I mean? And so it's just this battle of, hey, no, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing that voice again. So
that's pretty good.
But yeah, so that's been my proud, not proud. So anyone that's struggling with money out there, I feel you, man. I mean, regardless if it's you're not making enough or you're overspending, I feel like everyone overspends.
I mean, Andy and I are in the same boat.
Right.
We've been having conversations every Sunday night lately. And
the nights you're not here.
Right. So we talk about everything else but money.
I know.
We talk about who's going to get the kid here and there and who's going to make dinner this night and that night and what activities do we need to know about.
Yeah, you're rock stars with that stuff.
Yeah.
Absolute rock. So are we.
And then I was like, you know what? We're really struggling financially here. We're having to pull money from other accounts and transfer things over, and it's just getting really
ridiculous.
Really ridiculous.
And you and I are in the same boat. I mean, you live comfortably. You have everything you need plus more. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why am I moving money off from this account? This shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
I will. No, I'm not. I'm not going to say I'll give you a little slack. I'm not going to give you any slack, but you do have an irregular income, which is a nightmare to budget.
But it's not, though.
Okay. You heard it here, Andy. You heard it here.
I know. I was thinking about this on the way over, actually, because I knew you were going to bring up money, and so I was just thinking about money.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going through a process of doing a refi on our house because the market has jumped up a ton, and we could actually get a decent number of cash back and a lower interest rate.
Are you thinking about doing a remodel with it?
No, paying off stupid debt.
Oh, really?
That and a couple of other things. We'll probably put a new roof on with some of it, but yeah. But anyway, so part of the refi process is obviously uploading all the docs that they need, like the pay stubs. And I was just looking at the last 4 years, and every year I've made about the same.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a little bit sporadic in that it comes in at different times, and that is hard to budget around. But at the end of the year, I'm making roughly the same number.
I bet if you looked at your lows and your highs, I bet they're pretty consistent through the year too, where you could kind of be like, okay, I know March and April suck. So January, February, I mean, I'm just throwing out, I don't know if it is or not, which actually January, February probably sucks because of the holidays. But you could be like, oh, I need to slide a couple grand over so that we can, fix those little valleys that we have there.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
But I like to spend that couple grand on other things.
It's hard. It's okay to say it's hard.
It's very hard. And then we got a tax refund. We have been getting tax refunds, and it's like that money comes in and it goes out so fast.
I know.
It's amazing how quick we can spend those things.
I unfortunately had to pay quite a bit this year, but normally I like to break even, because I would do that too. I'd be like, oh, babe, we got $5 grand. Let's go buy new furniture or whatever like that. But I just want to say anyone that's struggling, I get you. I feel you. It's tough. I mean, you want to buy stuff, and I got to get to the point to find something else to get my dopamine hit. I know we're on a tangent here. We're way behind on our schedule, but we haven't connected like this in a long time. But I have to find something to find a dopamine hit somewhere else. I don't know what
Clash Royale.
Well, that's just when I'm bored.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to hear the answer.
Oh, boy.
Have you ever spent money on Clash Royale?
I've probably spent $150.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
thank
not
you.
bad.
Yeah, I know.
My son came to me the other day. He's like, dude, Dad, check this out. For $100, I could get all this stuff. And I was like, well, that's cool. You got $100? Well, no. Like, well, end a conversation. I don't want to hear anymore.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you ever asked. Do you know how much I have to work for that $100?
Seriously.
Like, I mean, it's not like it just grows on trees.
Yeah.
But I would like to buy that $100 gem pack too, because you get so much stuff.
Yeah, and then my daughter, she found some app. I don't even know what it was. Probably some doll thing.
Yeah, Avery gets those.
Subscription based, $10 a month. She just comes to Andy and is like, "Hey, can you download this and put your credit card info in? It's only $10 a month." And we're like, "No."
That's why I feel like you're spoiling your kids.
Yeah,
like my kids somewhat do that, but.
And then there was another time where she had the jump rope fundraiser for the American Heart Association.
Okay.
She filled out the form on the iPad. Got to give her credit for that.
Yeah.
I looked at the box that she checked for a donation. $100. I'm like, miracle.
Without asking you?
Yeah. Well, she didn't have she came to me with the tablet and said, all I need you to do is put your credit card info in. And I'm like, whoa, hold up.
That's so funny. There's so many. This again, tangent. Do you get all that stupid fundraiser crap from school? Don't you get overwhelmed with that?
Yes.
I love my wife because she's like, you know what? We'll do the ones we want to. The rest of them, they can go right in the recycle bin.
Sure
and I'm like,
can.
amen, sister. Like Avery kind of knows. Like we'll pick and choose. No, I'm not going to the Pizza Hut one. Pizza Hut sucks. Why would I go spend money?
It's true.
I'm such a hard ass.
It's all right. I'm really curious, though. What is the T-Rex?
Okay, we can talk about that. One of the up at the cabin, that little 4x4 thing. Do we ever go for a ride on that?
Didn't go for
I
a
took the
ride.
kids.
Yeah,
took
but
Stefan.
I didn't go for a ride.
Yeah, so it's a fun little toy. I don't use it a ton, but it's fun. And Nolte had gone out there on it, and Avery's like, I want to go. And we always like to go to the mud puddles. I try to soak us when we go. So we went, and so then we let's go exploring. So we go down some back roads, and then we ended up, you'll love this. I go to pull out my phone to see where Google Maps are. I can't get a signal where we're at. Luckily, there was a paper map in the glove compartment, so I grabbed that, and we found out where we were. So we were going down the road, and all of a sudden we heard some clicking, and the thing started dying. And so we quick pulled over. Thankfully, we weren't way back in BFE in one of the trails, and couldn't figure out what was going on. I checked the oil, bone dry. We ran it out of oil. So it didn't crack the case, but I think there's a rod that's thrown in there. So I'm like, I didn't take the blame for it, but I got the blame for it. And it's a long story. I'm not going to go into it, but at this point, we don't know what's going on. But that was kind of a not proud moment, just because I should have checked the oil, but I never do. And it's like how often do you check the oil in your car?
Not very.
Never. I mean, if it was an older car, maybe. This thing's got not old. But anyways.
Do you check the oil on your Honda?
I have two Hondas. So which one? The van?
No. Your rideshare vehicle.
Nope.
I don't either.
I mean, every 5,000 miles I roll in, they usually will tell you, hey, you're a little low. You might want to watch it during the time. But so, yeah, that's where we're at. It's sitting, not working. But I feel like this could be a proud moment. I was with Avery, and we got all done, and Nolte came out. We ended up just towing it back. And she was like, oh, Dad didn't really freak out. I'm like, of course not. I mean, what can I do? And I know
point, a whole lot of nothing.
She reads me so well, so I have to be so careful. And I'm like, I didn't freak out, and I wanted to. I was like, Emmer, effer in my head, and I'm like, nope, I gotta calm down. So, all right, we ready to move on? Finally, that was a long personal update.
Well, there's a lot to catch up on.
Apparently. I mean, we're talking Where are we at for time?
I don't know.
49 minutes.
Ooh.
Well, 10 of that was live stream intro, but no, I'm having fun. It's been so like the last time we like sat across from each other and talked has been so long. I know I keep
have
saying
to feel like we, have a question ready for an interview.
Right.
That was so hard. I don't think well on my feet. I need time to process.
It's funny you bring that up because I feel once you culminate, did I say it right?
Yes, I think so.
We had that word came up.
Cultivate or culminate?
But that word had tripped me up in a podcast, or early podcast. I remember us teasing it. But once you have come up with one, you're really good at it. But it drives me nuts because the dead air for 3 seconds seems like 20 for me, and I jump in. But completely side note, I think it depends on who connects better. I think I connected better with Mike. Mm-hmm. So I think, this is just us talking about our show behind the scenes, that I think we should kind of ebb and flow of who connects better. Yeah. I think you connected better with Sam, honestly. Mm-hmm. I do. You had better questions. It just seemed like you guys were connecting better. So I just think that happens sometimes.
You guys.
You're
hilarious.
What do you mean, you guys?
You said you guys were connecting.
Oh, threads. Whatever. God question. Let's get in there. How often do you pray, read the Bible, and think about faith? So typically in this format, God's an important part of our life. I want to ask you a question about God, though. This is kind of off the cuff.
Off script.
Off script, bro, on God. That's pretty scary for Jason. You talked about you and Andy never talk about money. How often do you talk about faith?
Not super often.
And I think we've talked about this before, but it just jogged my memory. It's like, I don't know. Do you guys break down, like when you go to your small group or whatever, do you ever talk afterwards and like, man, or do you just kind of be like, oh, that was fun, and then like go home and eat ice cream? Oh, wait, that's the Tearies.
The last time that we went to small group, Miracle comes with us, so it's not like we can just like talk in the car on the way home necessarily. Right. So I don't think we really do break it down much. But when we're there, we're both actively engaged and like really into it. It's really interesting. We don't necessarily talk about our faith, but we both have a relationship with God that matters to us. It's just not something that we are good at talking about together.
Yeah, like praying together. I mean, how often I think maybe that's the norm, and I think it's not the norm. I mean, maybe spouses don't do that. It's just weird because we all go to church, but I feel like your relationship with God is personal. Like, you don't have to go to church. You can still have a relationship with God. It's fine. But I think it's just different with talking to somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. This will be fun to break down with my wife because on the podcast. I wonder. It's so interesting because even when I was like a pastor and actively living this out day in, day out, it wasn't like a regular thing that my wife and I would pray together.
And that you would think that would be pretty normal.
Yeah.
Especially in the field.
Yeah. But it just wasn't. And it still isn't.
What is it about that?
I'm not really sure.
We really need to like research that because maybe we'll do a poll or something. I feel like we need to write this down because I'll ask you in about 2 hours. What was our poll?
Yes, that.
I'm going to write it down. But yeah, I don't understand why that's so difficult to, is it just like you feel awkward?
Yes.
Really?
I think so.
What part of it is awkward? Like,
two of you are coming together and you see each other and you're communing and talking with somebody that you can't see. And you're talking, I don't know. I think that's part of it for me. It's not like God's right here in the midst of it and you can see him face to face and you're chatting with him and your wife. It just feels different.
I agree. I can't put my finger on what is weird about it.
It's interesting for sure.
But I mean, in regards to that too, though, when I pray with Avery, she's starting to pray more adult-ish, and instead of now I lay me down to sleep.
Yeah, right.
That one that we've done forever. And she gets a little awkward too. Because I put her to bed like 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm like, oh, it's your turn to pray. She's like, no, I don't want to. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering what that is. And
do you guys do like prayer at meals or anything?
Not really. We're not good with that.
Neither are we.
Yeah.
It's probably been about a month now. But I wanted to introduce the idea of spiritual disciplines like controlling your tongue, fasting, like all these different things that are encouraged in the Bible. And we got through one of them, control your tongue. There was a little activity that went along with it. My kids didn't really do the activity, but Andy and I did. So
okay,
but that was a month ago, so we're sporadic.
Yeah, same with us. One of our good friends bought us a devotional, and we did it for like 2 months, and then we just quit. And it wasn't bad; it was good, and
yeah,
I enjoyed it. But it's just like one of those things, routine.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nature of the question that I have. I put in caps: frequency. Like, how often do you engage in your faith?
I mean, in regards to like how often do I pray, I find that I pray only when I'm having trouble sleeping. I mean, I will in times of crises or
sure.
When you were with Miracle and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as on the reg, I it's just like I feel like I fall asleep so fast. I'm like I got a little nerdy tooth guard because I grind my teeth. I finally started wearing it because I went to a new dentist and they said the same thing that I'm wearing it.
Yes.
I thought that my other one was just being a dick, but I was like, okay, so I started wearing it. I'm usually asleep, but if I do have a little bit trouble, I know this is unfiltered. Like I'm being vulnerable here because I sound like a terrible Christian. I only pray when I have trouble falling asleep, which isn't very often. But what about you?
I would say prayer seems to be a pretty regular thing.
Okay.
But I also have a lot of quiet moments throughout the day with my job, driving between appointments and whatnot. As far as setting aside specific times during the day, I don't really do that. Like, it's not something I'm planning and working into my schedule. And sometimes I wonder if it should be that way.
But then I often feel like then it's just like it's a scheduled thing, like scheduling sex or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think God cares either way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for you if that works for you. And, that would establish that habit we just talked about.
It would.
So,
and then I put a follow-up question. Does God, quote, punish us for not communicating with him more frequently? I don't think he does. I don't think God is standing up there like, you have to pray this many times and read my words this many times. I think it's kind of a take it or leave it.
Well, there are faiths like that. Like I feel like the Catholic faith, even though they are Christians just like us, but they have like the rosary or you got to do this certain many times. And it's like, I don't remember reading that in the Bible.
Yeah.
And
in the Bible, it does talk about meditating on his word day and night. And I think I do. I'm not necessarily memorizing but whatnot, but I do often think about things that I have learned from the Bible or from following him. So I think to answer my second question, does God punish us? No, I don't think he does. I think we punish ourselves when we do that.
But does God punish us anyways?
I think he does.
Really?
I think he can.
Interesting.
You don't think he does?
I don't know. I'm trying to think I know I had that quietness. Did that bother you?
It did a little bit.
No, I was trying to be
it
so
was
good.
Interesting, and then nothing.
No, we looked at each other. I'm glad that the eye communication. No, I mean, so does, I don't know. So by him punishing, it goes back to the whole thing when someone gets cancer. Is God punishing that person, or is he just allowing the devil to be like, because of sin? You know what I mean? These are the damn questions I want answered right now.
Seriously.
For somebody that's like, wants to know right now. Wants it right now.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I think what it really boils down to is if we choose to do something that we know is against God's way.
Yeah.
And I think there's absolutely a standard that God has a way. And I think that there's a lot of things that I do that aren't that way.
Yeah.
And I think that when I don't follow him and I don't obey or do things by his way, the result is almost always pain.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm punishing myself almost because natural consequences.
Yeah.
So I don't think God is ready with lightning bolts to, stab me every time I make a stupid choice, but he's also not preventing me from the consequences.
Well, that's kind of the free will.
Yeah.
We have the free will to love him, to hate him, to murder, to whatever.
Yeah.
That's not without consequences, but we have the free will.
Exactly.
Joe Pellerito, I think he's a Zane thing, said, MC Hammer says we have to pray just to make it today.
That's awesome.
Do you even know who MC Hammer is?
Yes, I had MC Hammer pants when I was a kid, dude.
All right.
Those were amazing.
Megan's got some MC, I call her Hammer pants. They're not that, but they look like it. So thanks for tuning in real quick, Joe.
Yeah.
So let's transition to current events. Now, all these are Ben's. Not that I won't talk about it, but
you ruined it.
What?
Sorry, I just had a really good tie-in for that first one there.
I apologize. Go ahead, tie it in.
So, as we're talking about frequency of faith coming up, I should have put in the notes that I wanted to do the transition, but
I think you did. You
maybe.
said transition to this current event.
Yeah, I did, but that's okay. So, I think there's a line in how you live out your faith. Like, we live in a world that is not a Christian world. I know there's some debate about whether America was started as a Christian nation. That's a whole nother rabbit trail. The truth of the matter is, our current world does not view Christianity as like the governing, religion. Like, it's not something that you can just go out and openly practice on the job necessarily.
Yeah, complete tangent. Tell about that one guy, or maybe you don't want to. That
oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you did, but
we talked about it on the podcast a few months ago. But
this is just kind of the thought of what you're kind of talking about.
Yes, this guy felt it was appropriate to come into our office as I'm making phone calls trying to set appointments. That's how you do it. You pick up the phone and you call somebody and say, hey, let's meet. You don't just show up at their place of business and say, hey, we're going to meet right now. Well, this guy, this older gentleman, showed up and expected me to drop everything and show him a copy machine that he was interested in buying for his church. So
you're like, okay.
I dropped everything and went to go do that. And at the end, he awkwardly puts his hand out for a handshake. And as I grab it, he just starts praying, and he's holding my hand,
not letting you go,
and like gripping it. And as he's praying to show emphasis, he's shaking my hand. It was so damn awkward.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. I have been for much of my life. I love Jesus. But that was awkward.
Well, it's not only that, it's just them,
in my workplace.
Right. It's just making you do it. I don't know. I know Jesus tells us to reach out and witness and everything, but I feel like that's a little too far.
It was, yeah.
I mean, even workplace or not, it would have been super awkward.
Oh, for sure.
But
so at any rate, people like that, they kind of they rub me the wrong way, I guess. And so talking about frequency and how often you engage in your faith, there was a nurse who was fired from her position because she, on the regular, engaged in her faith. And I can understand that and appreciate that, because when I had heart surgery as a kid, I remember that I had nurses that would pray. And, I was cool with that. They never forced it on me. I think they just joined in when my pastor was praying or whatever the case may be. But then there's this chick who just kind of would sing or hum hymns as she's around patients, and she would pray for them without asking for their permission.
Well, there's a couple things that one patient claims she spent more time talking about religion than doing the assessment.
Yeah.
In the same month, the nurse was accused of telling a bowel cancer patient that if he prayed to God, he would have a chance of survival.
Yeah, that's crossing a lot of lines.
Yeah. So what is your take on that? That you agree that she crossed the line and that she shouldn't do that in the workplace?
Yeah, I think there's a place for faith in the workplace. Like, we even have a chaplain at my employer.
You do?
We do. He's
wow.
a workplace chaplain, and his position is to work with employers, and he stops by each employer that he represents every other week. Just comes in, how's life going?
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Anything you want to talk about? Never does he ever push faith, but he's there. And if you want to talk about faith, or if you want to talk about something difficult in your life, you can set up a time and go have a chat with him about it.
Interesting.
But even as a chaplain, he is not forcing it upon the employees.
Right.
And I feel like this nurse was forcing her faith.
Yeah, Megan looked at the rundown and had seen that and had talked about there had been someone in the hospital that did get reprimanded for that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a gray area. You can't bring it up, but if the patient or the patient's family brings it up and asks, and then okay, it's a little different story.
Definitely.
But you can't force your religion, regardless of what it is.
Exactly.
Christian, Muslim, or
and that's where I think a lot of Christians get hung up. They feel like, well,
we're the
it's
best.
my right, and we are the best. And it's like, well, how would you feel if a Satanist used that same logic and pushed Satanism,
Yeah, because he believes he's just as passionate as you are.
Yeah.
Obviously, you believe opposite things, but I feel like she crossed the line too. I mean, there could be worse things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that bad, but some people aren't religious. So if I was completely non-religious and my baby was dying and I had some lady praying over it, I might be a little fussy with that. I'd be like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the current event that kind of tied into the God question there. From there, we've got a few other current events. I didn't pick all of them.
Oh, were some of these mine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks
I mean, the last two were yours.
I may not have read them.
It's okay.
I'm bad.
To the bone.
Oh, boy.
Wow. So obviously on our show, we talk a lot about mental health. We had Mike Camp, who is walking from Berry County from Newaggo all the way, not Newaggo.
Where?
Shh.
No. What was that county you said?
No, Berry.
No, he said, no, just how you pronounce the Newaggo. Go ahead.
Newaggo.
It's not Fago. It's Newaggo.
Newaggo.
No, Newaggo.
That's how I said it, and you're mocking me.
Okay.
Anyway. That was like a Freudian slip, because that's not even the area at all.
No, it's basically Hastings to St. Ignace.
Not Newaggo.
Lego my new ego.
So he is walking from the city of Hastings, which is in Berry County, southern West Michigan, and walking all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge and across into St. Ignace. And as he's doing this walk, his whole goal is to bring hope to people that are fighting mental health issues.
Yep.
And that's just incredible. So it's something we talk about often on our show. And this first article, just the headline caught my eye. Not talking about mental health is literally killing men. And you didn't read it?
I'm reading it now, but I was noticing you were talking off the mic, and I was just picking my head up, be like,
dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, bro.
What am I, a newbie?
What are you going to announce a winner? No one gets that except you and I and Larry.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So these numbers sound a little bit low, but maybe not. What's real is the fact that 9% of men experience depression on a daily basis. That's more than 6 million men. Even if we understand what depression feels like, we rarely admit that's the culprit. We lie and say we're tired or just cranky. More than 3 million men struggle with anxiety daily. Of the 3.5 million people diagnosed as schizophrenic by the age of 30, more than 90% of them are men. An estimated 10 million men in the U.S. will suffer from an eating disorder in their life. We retreat from friends and instead drown sorrows in numbing substances. 1 of every 5 men will develop an alcohol dependency during his life. Male suicide is rising at such an alarming rate that it's been classified as a silent epidemic. It's the 7th leading cause of death for males. Drill down into the numbers, and suicide is the 2nd most common cause of death for every age group for men. 10, that's wow, through 39.
Yeah, when you say the word men and 10, it's like, ee.
Yeah. And then this paragraph kind of really struck out to me, and this really speaks to what we want to be about on Threads podcast, Life Unfiltered. Men who are vocal about any kind of mental issues can be dismissed as weak, as inferior, as flawed, broken guys who are more likely to be ostracized for their honesty instead of rewarded for their bravery. Instead of affording a fellow man compassion, we mock, belittle, and turn a blind eye. We freely spit the phrase, man up, as though your gender alone should suffice to guide you through your darkest times. Or worse, we nonchalantly respond, well, that sucks, then change the subject because talking about feelings is just too real. Would you agree with that?
I would. I was definitely trying to find where that was in the article. I could not find it.
It's in the very beginning. Right above the
dang it.
What's real.
Sorry, you jumped around.
I did.
No, I totally agree. And, you know, another thing that resonates with our podcast, what I was looking at, which I thought you were going to, it says it's okay not to have your shit together. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to be scared. It's okay not to have everything figured out.
Yeah.
And it's tough as men to think like that, because I'm like the provider, and you know, that's why I always talk with Megan like we're unbalanced. Like, I'll take care of it, I'll do it, that's what we're supposed to do. But it's okay if you can't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, what's not okay is suffering in silence.
But what do you think I mean, that's kind of our goal of the podcast, I guess. Our mission statement. Do we have a mission? Statement? I think we should. But I wonder if that's one of them, is to get more men to open up about that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how we do that other than just talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people will think when they hear us, like, oh, these guys are full of shit. I don't know, but I really need to ponder that a little bit of what we can do to open guys up to just talk about their shit.
Yeah. And even Mike Camp, who is like super dedicated to his pursuit, he was really nervous.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just nervous to be on the show. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of guys have that sense of, oh shit, I'm going to talk about my stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't going to go well.
Right.
So, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was quoted in this article, and he recently revealed his battle with depression after his mother attempted suicide when he was a teenager. He says, "It took me a long time to realize it, but the key is to not be afraid to open up. Especially us dudes have a tendency to keep it in. You're not alone."
I feel like him saying that, though, and he's a big influence, but how do you get, I mean, me telling a guy that, be like, okay, whatever, F off. You know what I mean? But I think it's having a friend that can connect on that level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really thinking about what we can do as a podcast to open people up more. Get them in here and drill them, right?
There you go.
Interview them.
But I think just, the listeners that we have tuning in, your typical Zaniac may not know how to have that level of conversation.
Yeah.
And they're tuning in and hearing us do it. And I think maybe, and I'm not just picking on Zaniacs, but anybody who listens, perhaps there are guys who listen and they don't have this level of conversation with anybody in their life. So it's almost giving an example of how to do it.
Yeah, and people that, haven't really listened or don't know much about Ben and I. Ben, I would say, honestly, is probably more in touch with his feelings. And that's not a bad thing, but
I'm a sensitive person.
I'm glad you almost said snowflake. Didn't
That's
you?
true. I did.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. And do I tease Ben sometimes? Of course I do, because we're friends. That's just what we do, but not in the way like, come on, man, quit being a bitch. You know, I mean, I'm not doing
Man
that.
up.
No, I've never said
Never
that.
once.
Well, normally, if that's said, Ben calls himself out and be like, "Yeah, probably." Like it's time to pick it up. But it's just, yeah, I don't know. I really have to think about that. Like, I don't know what kind of homework we can do with that. But I don't know. What do you think?
I just really resonate with everything in that article. And I think, I don't know, I really think that what we do here on our show is helping people.
Yeah.
I think it gives them the idea or how to do it.
You know, Tim commented and said, definitely not easy to talk about it publicly. So I apologize. I started a watch party and people have been commenting in that, like your wife. So I shouldn't do that because it takes it out of our own thread. So sorry about that. But yeah, he definitely, it's a good point. You're almost afraid of who you're going to tell. If your employer finds out you're quote unquote having mental troubles, or your spouse that you don't want to know. I mean, your spouse should know, but, or a significant other you're dating for like 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So I completely understand how it can not be easy to talk about it in public. Yeah, I don't know. You can call me. You can message me. I'll talk to you.
Right.
I'll talk to you. I don't care. I'll talk to anybody. Hence why I do a couple podcasts, because I like to talk. But in all seriousness, if anyone that is listening, if you ever want to talk, I mean, shoot, even if you're not local, we'll put you on the podcast. We'll talk.
Absolutely.
We'll put you on Skype. I mean, we semi know how to do that. So you want to jump to the next article?
Yeah. Did you share this one?
I don't think I did.
Huh. Interesting. Columbine survivor and public speaker Austin Eubanks loses his battle with addiction. Let's see. He was found dead at his home. He was found after a welfare check. He didn't answer his phone. He had an addiction to opioids.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So again, going back to the Mike Camp interview, that's something that Mike really wrestled with and is a big part of his story. So here's a dude who, man, Columbine, it was on my birthday, April 20. I remember it like it was yesterday. What a terrible thing to watch on TV. But this kid was there. Like, he lived through it. And after he really did well of putting his life back together and was a public speaker and raising hope. But I'm not sure if it was Columbine that introduced him to the opioids.
Yeah, I can jump in real quick. I actually found that. As a result, he was shot in the hand and the leg.
Yes.
Basically, the shooters methodically came in. His friend was killed instantly right next to him. And they said, as a result of his injuries, I was pretty significantly medicated within 45 minutes after being shot. I remember immediately being drawn to that feeling because it took the emotion away of the pain medication. Within a matter of weeks, he said he was addicted to opiates.
Yeah.
And that's at what, age 17 at the time.
And into his 20s.
Wow.
That's hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we don't need to beat a dead horse. No, I shouldn't have said that. That was inappropriate. I didn't. It's just one of those things. I apologize to anyone that offended, but it's mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mental health and the opiate addiction. And man, Mike, what a good guy to talk about that. I'm so excited to see Mike in 10 years, in 5 years, and like what he's going to do. I think he's going to do great things, but this is tough. Yeah, I don't remember where I was. That doesn't ring. 9/11 I know really well, but I don't even remember the Columbine. Gosh, I don't even know how old I was. 1999.
Yeah.
So
I was 15. I had just turned 15 that day.
Oh, wow.
And I came home from school and turned the TV on, and that's what I saw.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until I got home from school.
That's rough.
And that's Colorado, so I think they're
2 hours? Yeah, they're 2 hours.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I got home at like 4. It's 2 o'clock there. And
yeah.
I'm watching this on TV and just like, what the hell is this? It was pretty life altering to see.
So let's transition to some good news.
Positive news.
So this guy, Morehouse College, I'm not familiar with it, but
it's a predominantly black school.
Yeah, I think it's they separate by gender too. I think they have a white. That's race, dumbass. They have a boy and a girl.
Segregation is done.
Yeah, that's long ago.
Yeah.
But this guy, Robert Smith, a billionaire investor who has been named the richest black man in America, announced he would pay off all the student loans for that class, which is insane.
Yeah.
400 graduates. I think the number was going to be like 40 million or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. Not that he paid it off, but the amount of freaking debt involved with schools. But that, it's like that guy that did the Kalamazoo Promise.
Oh yeah.
He was silent though. I don't think they ever know who did that, but someone I don't know if that's still going on.
I don't know.
I know that if you graduated high school, they would pay for your college. If you went to a state college, I think it was, or something like that. But
so there was a graduate from East Kentwood area that was part of the 2019 class. So he says that was mind-blowing. At first, it didn't sink in. And I asked someone, what did he say? He said he was going to pay our student loans, right? Once it was clear that it was real, Young and his classmates celebrated. People are singing, hey, hey, I'm debt-free. Yeah, that's me, he recalled. So I immediately text my parents in our group chat, I just felt my credit score go up, right? Jokingly, because those student loans magically vanished. Yeah, that is so cool.
Well, it just gives those kids such a huge advantage. That doesn't mean they won't go out and rack up debt anyways.
Yeah.
But at least the ones that have decided, you know what? It's like getting an inheritance and then just blowing it on strippers and lotto tickets. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I hope that I hope this does good things for them. And I love people that give their money away. It's just like Bill Gates,
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of giving money away, did you see Jeff Bezos' wife, what she announced? So she got like $37 billion in the divorce.
Yeah.
She's going to donate most of it to charity.
Awesome.
And doing some, can't say this word, philanthropy.
Philanthropy?
Yeah, philanthropy with that money. I'm like, oh,
awesome.
That's a baller move.
Right?
I don't need all this money. I can live on I don't know, 1 billion and be okay. But I like people like that are just like, yeah, I'm just going to give you all this money.
Yeah.
So good for that guy. I didn't know anything about him. Robert Smith, such a standard name.
I know, right?
Robert Bob Smith.
Yeah.
Billionaire investor. I'd like to look him up.
No kidding. Give us some money. Just kidding.
What? We have this nice moment, and then you're like, oh, I need some money.
Give us some money.
Speaking of that, do you want to donate to our Patreon? No, I'm just kidding. So what do we want to do here?
I have one other article that I wanted to bring up.
That you really want to bring up?
I really did. I found it last night, and I had already planned out the itinerary, what we were going to talk about. But I read this story, and I was just like, that's incredible. It's a short article, so I'll just go ahead and read it. 13-year-old Damien suffers from focal segmental, not even going to try to pronounce that.
What are you, Jason?
Glomerulosclerosis. That's just a really long way to say he needs a kidney transplant. The good news, he's on the transplant list and near the top. The bad news, he can't stay there without a stable home. And this is where I started tearing up. Damien has floated from foster home to foster home because it's so difficult to find a place that accommodates his medical needs. He has spent months, sometimes years, living in hospitals. Unfortunately, whenever he's a hospital resident, he's considered high risk for the organ to not work. One day, Damien told Finn Lanning, his math teacher, he wouldn't be returning. He was on his way back to the hospital. Lanning decided to step in. He's adopting Damien. giving him a place to call home and a chance to finally get that elusive kidney. It just became really hard for me to look the other way, Lanning told KDVR. Damien's condition requires him to maintain a strict diet, which has placed an unexpected financial burden on Lanning. Their food bill can run between $200 to $300 per week. The community has stepped in to provide things like bedroom furniture, but they could use a little assistance with other expenses. So, of course, I checked their GoFundMe account.
I just clicked on it.
Like, they have $60K that they raised, and they were only going for $30.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. So clearly that story resonated with a lot of people. I just think it's so awesome that here's this single math teacher dude, probably in his late 20s, early 30s, and just feels like it's his role to step in, take this kid in, give him a home so he can get a kidney.
Yeah, it kind of boils down to that billionaire. It's like those people that are stepping up just to be like, yeah, I'm going to take this kid. But
he wasn't a billionaire.
No, but I mean, it's those stories that are like, there are good people out there.
Exactly.
Everyone's not garbage. And so hopefully he can get the transplant. It's amazing that you can't be on the organ transplant list because it's almost like saying, well, your life isn't worth someone that has a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, how crappy is that?
Seriously.
That's a big politics, or not politics, but you can get it real deep with that one.
Oh, yeah. So there are two other current events.
I feel like we need to read the buried pet one. And the other one, let's just move on. Yeah, I'll read that real quick.
That was awesome.
It's not like, I mean, it's not awesome if you remember the story.
I mean, just the whole maybe awesome isn't the right
that's
word.
the wrong word. It's kind of a sad one, but basically some woman passed away, and the executor of the will said, hey, by the way, we have to euthanize this dog, and the dog needs to be buried with my client. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But the dog was euthanized, and
a healthy dog. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about that? So let's say that's Andy's. It's in Andy's will that she wants to have Ollie buried with her when she dies, and she gets hit by a truck tomorrow. Gosh, I hope she doesn't get hit by tomorrow.
Seriously,
we'll never be friends again. Whew. I talk like that with Megan. I'm like, what if I get hit by a car tomorrow?
It could happen.
It could happen. And would you do it? I mean,
if it was in the trust or the will.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know.
Tell the truth.
I'm kind of a letter of the law kind of guy. But I don't know. I don't
Your
think
kids are just sit there and they're like, okay, say goodbye to Ollie.
This is what mommy wanted.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
It's just tough. I'm asking you that because you and Andy got to break this episode down. But I get it. It's crap. I mean, the woman's a piece of S. I mean, why would she do that? Like, seriously. Euthanize the dog so it can be buried with you in what? Some weird box that just everything rots in it.
Seriously. Because pets are considered, that's my crutch word.
I know you said it like 3 times.
Seriously. Because pets are considered personal property in Virginia, euthanizing a healthy one is not illegal. But some vets have ethical issues with it and won't perform the procedure. Interesting.
Yeah. Seriously.
So, I think I said it was awesome just because the headline, it just cracks me up.
I'm just teasing you. It's just, it's one of those where on Reddit, I follow Insane Facebook, and that would be something I would see, like a dog owner requested the dog be euthanized, even though it's healthy.
It's so messed up.
It is bizarre. Do you want to jump into unfiltered finale, or what do you want to do here?
Oh, I just had
to pee real bad.
So you really want to finish this?
Just go. Oh, you deleted something.
I did because I didn't need that one.
All right, go.
All right,
go.
So we're gonna start wrapping this baby up, but
biatch.
I want to go full circle to the beginning of the show, talking about trauma and my daughter's experience before she joined us, and I think this quote just really helps understand how trauma impacts us. So 2 reasons why I wanted to bring this up. 1, obviously it's a good tie-in to my personal update. 2, I know you've been through a ton of trauma growing up. So I would be curious to hear your perspective, whether or not you felt this was true. So I'll read the quote. It says, "Trauma shatters your most basic assumptions about yourself and your world. Life is good. I'm safe. People are kind. I can trust others. The future is likely to be good." And replaces them with feelings like, the world is dangerous. I can't win. I can't trust other people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in regards to like the world is dangerous, I'm like that. And you know, my therapist Heather, she always says, you know, when you were younger, that was a great tool because guess what? It protected you. But now we're adults, and that's not a great tool because not everyone's out to get you. But no, I think like that all the time. I always have. Like when I meet somebody, I research, I look up and down, I keep a close eye on it because
Did you Google me?
I actually didn't.
Really?
I got a good feeling about you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just did, you know. And I was, you know, when I met you, I was friends with Jesper, and Jesper vouched for you. So that's a huge thing. It was
different.
But I'm always thinking people are out to get me. I'm very defensive with that. Even with my beautiful wife.
Really?
After 12 years, she's like, I'm not here to get you. Like, I'm not trying to be like, gotcha, you're wrong. You know what I mean? And so, no, it does ring true for this. And even with therapy, man. So don't expect Miracle after 3 years of therapy to kick it. If she does, that's great. But
yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that. I'm safe. Life is good. I'm safe. People are kind. Like Megan always thinks the good of people. They're all kind until they prove otherwise. I'm like, oh no, you're sketch until you prove otherwise.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, that was a little bit random. But
it wasn't. It tied in exactly to. No, it was perfect.
There were threads there.
It was perfect. I'm glad you read it. I am glad. I'm gonna post that on Facebook.
Awesome. That's another filler word that I use.
Awesome and seriously. Yep.
Seriously awesome.
Just try to think about it the next time you record, and you'll work on it.
So we wrap up our episodes when it's just the two of us with an unfiltered finale. In the beginning, I had the question as, tell us about a failure from your week. But somebody in this room stated that he didn't like that because we do this great show and then we share this really low thing about our failures.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to circle around and say I have nothing for my unfiltered finale because I hate people. Megan said I should have went with that because she's like, I was like, oh man, I got to think about something, a connection. And I was like, I just hate people. She's like, well, you should just say that. I'm like, yeah, I will, but I should.
Unfiltered.
No, I don't hate people at all, but it kind of, ties in with that quote before.
Yeah.
I keep my distance from people. I'm very cautious on who I let in my life. So
yeah,
I don't really have a connection.
That's okay.
I know it's okay. We're not all winners, and so that's why I thought I'd jump in because I feel like you have a good connection. Is that Larry Duncan?
No.
Okay,
No.
I was like, what did you guys do?
Larry and Jody. They're
okay,
a married couple.
They're a team.
Yes.
All right, go, sir.
Yes. Well, you had said that it's not easy for you to connect with people and to open yourself up, and I get that. And for the longest time, when our kids were struggling, I would just not really tell anybody. Like this is too big. Nobody's gonna understand this. This is just, people are just gonna think you should just get your shit together as a parent and figure it out. And but obviously, since starting Threads and also just,
and I forced you into therapy.
Yeah, I'm learning that's not a good approach. So I've started being open and honest about my kids' struggles, and that is scary.
Yeah.
And
because people judge.
They do. They absolutely
They may not judge
do.
right in front of you, but they're thinking about it.
Oh yeah. And I just didn't want to put myself in that position. But after you get kicked in the head repeatedly and, you're in the mental health emergency room,
right,
things kind of change.
Yeah.
So as we're sitting in the waiting room, I just banged out a text to Jody, who is on staff at our church, and she's also the leader of the small group that we're in, along with her husband, Larry. And I just said, things are not going well.
Yeah.
And just texted them what was going on. And that was hard because I had to acknowledge to somebody that I look up to, somebody that's leading my small group, be like, things aren't working really well. Things are pretty rough.
Yeah.
But the response that they gave was just so awesome. I haven't seen them face to face since everything went down.
Yeah.
Because we weren't at church today.
Right.
But over texts, and she was like, if you need anything, please call Larry. He can come out and help de-escalate the situation if Miracle has another fit. Now, thankfully, we didn't need to take advantage of that, but Larry works in the mental health field, so he's skilled in how to do that. So,
and it's weird that you wouldn't have reached out to him knowing that he does not judge it. Like, out of everyone in your small group, he's probably the least one that's going to judge.
Exactly. And yet, it was really hard for me to acknowledge that the rails are falling off and we need some help.
Right.
So, and not only that, but while we were out yesterday, they brought over a gift card to one of our favorite restaurants as a family.
Oh, wow.
Just as a way of saying, we know life is super chaotic and stressful right now.
Yeah.
Let us take care of a meal for you. And
that was awesome.
That is so awesome. So I guess the connection that was formed, or it wasn't really formed, I've known them, but it was enhanced.
It was enhanced.
It was me being willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Things are really hard right now, and I just want you to know. Turned out to be really good. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, there are good people out there. People are not always judging. Do they judge? Yes.
Well, I love it because the small group it's your small group, but you feel like that's the last place you want to tell them because it's your small group,
right?
Yeah.
And then in my communication with Jody, I said very clearly, you can share that we're struggling with the small group, but don't give details. And then I thought about that for a day, and I was like, why not give them details? What's the worst that's going to happen? So I went on the next day and just posted in our Facebook group for our small group and just said, here's what's going on. And I don't know how it went because we didn't go to small group today, obviously.
Probably should have gone.
Yeah.
With you posting on Facebook and then you're like, I'm going to ghost y'all.
No, we had 3 things that were on the schedule. We could only do one realistically with where Miracle's at. So our family won out. But yeah. So all that to say, there are good people in the world. Don't let your fear of judgment stop you from opening up if you need help.
Yeah.
So
it's tough. Like you said, it's tough to ask for help sometimes, especially for men. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I can't handle this right now, but I don't want to tell anybody that I can't handle this, but it literally is okay.
Yeah. Even with you, I held the record button and stopped recording several times.
Really?
Trying to tell you about Miracle. And I'm just like, he's not going to care.
Out of everyone. Yeah. I mean, I care, but I mean, it's like,
he's not going to judge me. He's not going to, think I'm an awful parent because I can't control my daughter.
And, there are times when I tell Ben, honestly, going back about an hour ago when you're talking about the Xbox, I pushed to get rid of that Xbox.
Oh, you did.
Now, I wasn't, of course, your therapist or Stefan's therapist reiterated it. So I don't say, I just want to help you. Mm-hmm. If I'm saying anything hey, you should get rid of that Xbox, because I'm like, that's what I would do. It's time to go.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about his AirPods if whatever ended up happening with that, but that we won't talk about it now. But thank you for reaching out to that small group. I think it's going to be a game changer for you.
I hope so.
Yeah, we definitely need to turn our phones off when we're
Amateur.
Yeah, I just think how good did you feel though after you reached out to Larry and said that? You like?
Yeah, it really felt cathartic.
I'm glad. One quick thing I want to relate to you in regards to telling people about. You felt like, oh, don't tell the details. One of the struggles I had with my mom, I'm not trying to overshadow yours or anything, but she would like tell people our business at Evergreen before we went there, and I'm just like, at first Megan did not like it at all, and then I was like, who cares if we get more prayers? Who cares? It's not like it's like anything major or anything like dirty, but I'm just like, I had struggled with that too, like even me and Megan for sure, but it's just like, why are we so ashamed of those things? I mean, that's just human nature, I guess. You know what I mean? But I'm proud of you for doing that. And you can message me anytime. I will accept if my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Then you have to call twice within like 3 minutes, and then it will go through. So just FYI.
Good to know.
I'm serious. If you need me and it's 2 a.m, you have to call like a couple of times right away. Otherwise, it won't go through. So, guys, we thank you so much. Gabe made a joke in our chat. I don't know. He's trying to force me. I don't know what that's about. Gabe. We need to get Gabe on the show. But thank you guys so much.
Ooh, a new term.
What?
Threadhead.
A threadhead? Where? Oh, Joe Pellerito. Thanks, Joe. A threadhead.
Threadhead. I like them both.
Yeah, please download the episode too. I know you may have caught bits and pieces. Eric talks about the same thing. I definitely catch bits and pieces. Well, now he's on the morning. I don't. But I voted no for that, by the way. I was one of the 10% because I liked popping in at night, watching him. But please download the episode, and if you click,
you're trying to force Gabe to go to therapy.
Oh, I'm not. I didn't say. I'm not trying to force Gabe to go to therapy, but Gabe, you should go to therapy.
Really?
I'm not telling you mine because she's good, and I don't want to share her. But download the episodes. You got Apple, Android, and Spotify. Those numbers help us. We'd love to take the show big time, but we can't if we don't get the numbers, and that's not why we're doing it. But it does. Talk about dopamine when I get a new follow on Facebook or a new download, or my numbers are a little higher this week. I love it. So freaking download it. On that note,
have a great night.
Good night.